What is Gizza good, y'all? It is your friend Mix Oracle, and welcome back to my channel where we are uplifting the working creative. Today's video is about belief, and belief is going to come up time and time and time again in your creative journey, in your journey as a human. Let's be real, okay? There's not really that much of a separation between creativity and who you are as a human. But for the sake of this channel and for your journey, let's talk about the creative. So I believe that all of us had a very similar start. And it started with a desire to do something, a desire to be a creative, a desire to see yourself on screen, on stage, in an art gallery, or a desire for one of your idols to say they appreciate the type of work that you do, or maybe someone that you love buying something that you have created, appreciating something. You have this feeling that has been inputted into your heart. Maybe you see it. Maybe you have a wishful dream, right? Some type of thing that you win as a milestone for this desire. And then that desire gets packed away for a little bit. It gets put in the closet. It gets stuffed in a notebook, in a manifesting journal. It gets put on a vision board. And then you go and live your life. I started my dream to become an actor in 3rd grade. And originally, I had planned on going to California to be a UCLA Bruin with my friend, who I also met in 3rd grade. We were like, we're going to go to California. It's going to happen. I mean, why wouldn't it, right? We were the Lulu and we had the Solulu back in 3rd grade Lou, okay? But I had an entire life to live. I was a 3rd grader. I was 9 years old, however you are in 3rd grade. And through that time, I went to school. I learned different subjects. I did plays, and I really loved dancing. I loved being on stage. So it was clear that my desire and the things that I naturally gravitated towards were present in that life. And I think when reflecting back on my life, it's obvious. I can see it. But I had to struggle through math class. I had to learn to enjoy math, history, learn about culture and the world, and gain a sense of appreciation for that. I had to have my first job at Panda Express, then at Ross, then at Sally Beauty Supply, then babysitting. Actually, I started babysitting when I was 11 years old. I was cleaning people's dog and rat cages and ferret cages. All of these different things that I picked up very young, right? Getting my first job, I worked at the social justice, first real job. I worked at the Social Justice Learning Institute in Inglewood, and I learned about structure. I was working as the development assistant at the time, and that was the first time I was exposed to checks, okay? And I'm not talking about my my check that comes in every 2 weeks and everything like that, but I got to see money in a big way for the first time. In every single little moment, I had to, in a sense, put my dream on the back burner. It was still on the oven. It was still ready for me to cook up at any time, right? I had obviously gone to school for acting. I was in acting classes, but I didn't feel that I had made the choice. There were so many other things on the other 3 burners, just in case. A plan B, A, B, and C at that. And my dream I had as plan D. In a sense, going, it's here. If the opportunity presents itself, then I get to drop all of these other things. If the opportunity presents itself, then I get to quit my job. Then I get to no longer babysit. Then I no longer have to study these other things just in case. And that's when I realized I didn't believe in myself. And my belief came at the most ridiculous moment, potentially in the industry, like in the history of the industry, right? I decided in March of last year to quit my job. And I said I would tell them in a month, and I would give them another month or so. to find someone to replace me because I loved this job. I loved the Social Justice Learning Institute. But I realized I can't do this anymore, not because I don't love the organization and what they stand for, but because I know I'm not supposed to be here. Like, there's somebody else who I almost felt like knocking behind me, like, move so I can be here because I want to be here, because this is my passion, this is my dream, and you're in my way. I felt that. And I also felt a desire and a need to explore what it really meant to be a full-time creative. Now, I had saved a good amount of money up until that point. I decided that I would take a step back and just babysit 2-3 days a week in order to pay for basic things, right? So I wasn't just completely depleting my savings over and over and over again. And I traveled, and I had a good time traveling. I was like, delusional, nothing else is going on in the world, it's fine, I'm in Fiji, who cares? As a strike is going on. SAG, writer strike. And in my mind at the time, I thought, okay, it'll be fine. I understand that the longest one in history was like 100 or something days, so maybe it'll take about then. But I didn't understand what the impact of those 100 days meant. That there would be this shadow period, right? Like retrograde. It felt like a retrograde in a sense. And that the time that I chose to believe in myself was the hardest time in history to do so. Now, mind you, there was the pandemic, right? So maybe that would have been a hard time for me to believe in myself as well. So I'm being hyperbolic by saying the hardest time in history. But what I'm saying is that is where my belief was actually learned. It was not by leaping when it was easy to leap, which maybe now, had I worked another year, had I saved a little bit more, now it probably would have been easy for me to leap and go, okay, the industry it's keeping up, it's all of these things, but I would not have the self-assurance that I have now for what I am supposed to do. And there's a project that I am aiming for like an archer. And had I not leapt at the time that I did, I would have felt shaky. I would have felt like I can't ask for this. I can't go for this. I can't demand that my team really push for this and pitch me for this and be ready for this, because I wouldn't have been ready. Belief is so clear that when your mind doesn't want to do it, your body takes over. And when your body and mind doesn't want to do it, your spirit takes over. That is when you know you believe in yourself so much. It's that it doesn't matter what part of your essence has doubt. There is at least one other part of your essence that will find the power to overtake. And what belief does, and what it should look like, is being so specific in something that you can then create actionable items behind it. You can then say, okay, I want this role, and I think it's going to start filming in the fall. Even if it's later, even if it's before then, it doesn't matter. By creating a date off of your belief, that is how you know you believe it. And the closer you get to that belief, you start figuring out, oh, there's a gap that I can shorten. So that's why I started working out. I went, in the event that I'm cast in this show and it requires a lot of physicality, not every role is that physical, but if it does, I don't want to be learning everything on the job. There will be some things that I, of course, will learn, but not everything. When I was able to watch Nancy Drew, right? Watch being Nancy Drew, but I just mean watching in the sense of behind the scenes. And I watched how Tunji, who played Ned Nickerson, was doing like fight choreography, how strong he looked, how badass he looked, right? My thought was, I want to be that badass. I want to be able to be that badass. I want to feel like it's a possibility. There's an ability for me to be that badass if I get the opportunity. And I was able to see his fight choreography coach and all of these things, right? And I could see his inner child in a way being so happy, because there's moments where it's like, if you're watching an action adventure movie show, there's a little bit of you that's like, I want to be in it. But his inner child made it happen. And it awoke something in me to go, I want that for myself as well. And that's what belief does. It takes all of these moments from your past and creates a pillar moment for you to go, now act on it. This is what you said you wanted. Now act on it every day, every week, every month, until you achieve it, until you know you have everything that you can to get it. Another aspect about belief that I believe that we have to include in this journey is being resourceful. So in the spiritual community, particularly in 2020, and it's okay that it happened in 2020 because a lot of us were twiddling our thumbs, right? There's this notion of I attract, right? I don't chase, I attract. And that was important for us as we all were shut down, right? Maybe we needed to just hold on to a belief that even this is still giving us what we need. But there is a moment that we have to chase. And I believe it's looking around our space, our contacts, our network, our bookshelves, the internet, for ways to be resourceful, for ways that we can say, this is what I want, and I'm going to do everything that I can to get it. Everything that I can to get it. And if I need something else, I trust that that door will be open for me. But sometimes it will only be opened if you push it open. It will only be open if you've gathered all of the necessary components that you possibly can, and then walk in, and then it's there. So as you continue to believe in yourself and your creative journey, what I want you to take away the most from this video is pick a date at least 6 months in the future. 9 to 12 months is, I think, the best. And say, this is what I want by then. This is the opportunity that I want. And then list out the skills you need to learn, the habits you want to take on, and spend the next 6 to 12 months just doing it. Not for monetary value, not for bragging rights on social media, but I'm gonna tell you right now, there will come a time when all of that comes towards you. The money, the accolades, and you wanting to talk about it. It will come. Now I'm being serenaded outside. I hope y'all can hear it. I have somebody that sings outside of my window. Okay. And so I think that means it's time to go. I believe that's a bit of a sign. That's all I got for y'all today. Peace.